So I'm here in Idaho Springs right now, and we are at the Bo Joe's Pizza Charger. And Bo Joe's Pizza is right there. You can kind of see a little bit up the top of Bo Joe's that there's a bunch of solar panels on the roof. And those solar panels, which are on the roofs of a lot of buildings here, help feed energy to this charger, which is and has fed energy to this Ford Focus Electric. And we're going to try to do something a little special with the Focus Electric today. We are going to leave from here and take a journey up the highest paved road in North America. We'll see if we can make it to the top, because we've got about 7,000 feet of elevation gain to go over about 30 miles, and we have to take a 4,000-pound car up that 7,000 feet. We're going to see if this car can go up. It's a purely electric car. There's no gas at all. We're going to see if it can go up to the top of this highest paved road in America. Okay, so here we are taking off, and this is Colorado Road 103 that starts on the way up to Mount Evans. And we are just crossing Interstate 70 in Idaho Springs. There are some rafters over to the side, and this is a river that we're going to cross over here. This is a popular rafting place. And up here we have the sign for Mount Evans Road, and it says Mount Evans Road open. And you can see we are on Colorado Road 103. One of the things that we like to look at on the way up is how much battery recharge we have. And right now we are starting off with 100% battery charge. And we are going to, watch that go down on the way up there. And it's going to go down pretty rapidly because we're going to climb a lot of feet to go up. Well, the first part of this road, we've already been now just 2 miles up it, but the first part of the road is not all that steep. And so as we go up, we're really not going to lose too much power going up here, but we are still going uphill. And if you were on a bike, you would certainly notice that you're going uphill. But as we get a little bit further in, it's going to get a lot steeper. Well, now we've gone almost 5 miles, and we are at 90% of the battery capacity left. And it's really the battery capacity that we're looking at. The car will also tell us that right now it estimates we have a 69-mile range, but that's really not all that helpful when you are traveling a lot of uphill or downhill. And right now it doesn't know what we've got coming up in front of us, and so we've just now dropped another percent, and that's gonna drop pretty rapidly as we go up. Again, we're about 5 miles into the journey. So our goal here is to just see how far we can get up it, and hopefully we'll get all the way up to the top. But wherever we get to is where we get to, and we'll just have to turn around at that point in time. So let's just find out how far we can go. All right, we have gotten into the steeper part now, and we are somewhere around 7 miles into this journey. And what we have is you can see we have switchbacks. You can see we are, here's a 7-mile point. And for the next 7 miles, we have sharp turns and steep grades. So we're gonna see a lot more power used up, but we're also gonna go a little bit slower to get up here, because we're gonna have to with the turns. Now, something I should mention is, if you have an internal combustion engine, a regular gasoline car, when you are going up at higher altitudes, there's not nearly as much oxygen, and it needs oxygen to basically fire, to burn. And so it's a little harder for that car to go. In an electric car, we don't need any oxygen to run the car, so for us it should be no difference driving at higher altitude than it is driving at any other altitude, because we're climbing pretty strong here. And again, this car it weighs a lot. It's a lot heavier than a regular Ford Focus, because we got 800 pounds, maybe 850 pounds of battery pack in it, plus 2 adults. And so it's going to take us a little bit more energy. It takes a lot more energy to lift that weight up. Conversely, later on, we're going to come down, and we're going to be able to reap some of those gains of having a little more weight, but we'll talk about that later. Well, just kind of coming out of nowhere, you just end up in Echo Lake, and it's a very pretty lake, and you just hit here at about the 13-mile point. You can see here's the 13-mile marker, and there are fishermen out there doing their thing. Always a lot of fishermen at this lake, and it's more crowded during a weekend than it is during a weekday, and today is a weekday. We wanted to come up here and try this on a weekday. Right now we have 62% of battery power left, so we are doing all right, and we've got maybe another 13 or 14 miles to go. And one of the landmarks up here is the Echo Lake Lodge. There. Now, one of the things that we've noticed pretty much as we've come up, because it was going to be a very warm and sunny day in Denver today. It still is a warm and sunny day, but up here, not so much. We've got clouds and possibly even thunderstorms coming in as we go up. And that's pretty typical. The mountain weather is not what the city weather is. And in this case, a lot of times we'll tell you when you go up, you drop about 3 degrees for every 1,000 feet you go up. So we're looking at maybe a 25 degree temperature drop just normally anyway, and that was if it's a sunny day, but we're not in a sunny day coming up here, so we're going to see what the weather holds for us, but we're moving on. So here we are at the entrance to Mount Evans, and we are going to pay right here. Sign to Mount Evans. We have 14 miles to go. Summit Lake is up there at 9 Mile Point, and that'll be the next place we probably stop, but we'll film some along the way. And we are now in the high alpine forest area. And 60% of battery power, which is kind of where we were hoping to be at this point in time. We have no idea, what it's going to be like, how much battery is going to be used, because we are actually going to climb even a higher rate. So I think we're at about 10,500 feet here, and we're going up to, again, 14,000 feet. So we have about 3,500 foot of elevation gain over the next 14 miles. It's a pretty steep grade. All right, well, we have gone about 2.5 miles up this road right now, and we have reached the timberline. And timberline in Colorado, that may be about where we are, somewhere around 11,500 feet, can go up to high as 12,000 feet. And so we are now, we're getting up there. All right, well, we are close to Summit Lake here, and the road's really kind of bad. This happens when you get to the places where the ground freezes so much in the wintertime, and that ice that gets underneath will then expand and rise up, and this road's in bad shape right here. This is actually kind of a lower point. I know it doesn't seem that way because we're up at 12,000 plus feet, but it is a little bit of a lower point. We've kind of come down, and that's why the lake is here, and I think so water gets trapped here a little bit more in the winter than you might think of other parts. And this is actually, we actually did drop down. It's the first time we've dropped down on this whole road. Well, this just kind of shows what the terrain is like up here, and we're headed all the way up to there still, so we've got a long climb still to go, and it's going to get steeper for us as we go. And look at the ruggedness of this terrain, and the glaciers that are up there as well. Some other things live up here too. There's the Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep that are up there. All right, well, this is the 14-mile point on the way up. We're getting very near the top. We still have 26% of our battery left, and I gotta tell you, I never thought we'd get up here with that. I thought we'd get up here with scraping by, I wouldn't say on fumes, but I guess electrons, scraping by on just a few electrons. But with 26% of our battery left, and we still have a little ways to go, probably we'll be down at 25 or 24, but I'm amazed. All right, so here we are coming into the parking area, and we are down to 24%. It might actually be 23 by the time we get there, but unbelievable that we were actually able to get up here. I wasn't really sure we could, and yet here we are at the parking area. This is the highest paved road in the United States. We are up at 14,000 plus feet here. It's kind of climbing up to the summit, and here is our Ford Focus Electric up here on the highest paved road in the United States. we're getting ready to come down, and just want to look and see how much percentage of battery we have. It tells us we have 24%. It's kind of on the lower edge of 24%, really. It's giving me a warning that says we are approaching the range limit. No duh. But we have only what it thinks is 9 miles left. That's 9 miles left of continuing the way we were, which was uphill. And we aren't going uphill. Outside, well, the weather really has changed. And we're going to have to go down in this, and I'm not really looking forward to that, but on the way down, we are going to regenerate. And it's going to be interesting to see how much we can get back from that 24%. Well, we're coming down in the rain now, and we are back now at Summit Lake. These are, I think, bristlecone pine trees. If I'm right, and they are bristlecone pines, these are the oldest living things on Earth. And they only grow up at this really high altitude. Some of them are known to be 4,000 years old. All right, we are at by the check-in at the trail, lead-in ranger station for here, and we now have 40% battery power. Now, remember at the top we had about 24%, so we have picked up some stuff. I thought we would actually get more, but because of the rain, we were going very slow, and when you're going real slow, then you end up having to put on some power, and that instead of just letting it flow down and letting it recharge everything, that didn't happen. But we still did pick up quite a bit, and we're still got a drop to go here, so we expect to pick up, maybe another 15% on the way down. We'll just see. All right, one of the things about an electric car is that when you're coming down a hill or you're coming to a stop, you can regenerate. But this one also has a low regeneration here on it too. So if you use the brake, you can regenerate as long as you don't push too hard. If you push too hard, you're going to be in the friction side of the brake. But most of the time, it just makes the engine work harder. And right now, I have it in the low regen, and even though we're going down a pretty steep hill, I'm slowing down. So I'm down to 25 and down to 20, and I'm not even touching the brake. All I'm doing is using the low regen, and that is recuperating more energy for us. So I think all electric cars have some kind of low regen mode. So here I'm on the normal regen mode, and I'm picking up speed going down the hill. But every time I go into a turn, a steep turn, I can just put it in the low regen mode. I don't even really have to step on the brake here, and I can just recuperate even more energy. So we're coming to the end of the journey here, and what we see is, we did it. And when we're back down here in Idaho Springs, we're showing 53% of battery power on our batteries. So we made the round trip of somewhere around 55 miles total with about 45% of battery power. And that's pretty amazing when you start to think about that. Now here's one thing I just want to comment on to kind of close this up is, if you were up there in a gas car and you came down, it wouldn't matter. You would use gas to come down. There is no way you would actually put energy back in your system. But here, that's exactly what we did. We put energy back in. In fact, we put basically 30% of the energy, or 30% of the battery power, which is somewhere about 6 kilowatts back into our battery.